Hey everybody, ronarray here, and farming is very diverse in PoE right now. A lot of strategies can provide decent profit, so the best farm from 0.4, Temple Farm, is making a comeback too. Now, Temple tablets are pretty cheap and you can even farm it with basic tablets too. It will be just a little slower, making Temple a very versatile and easy to scale strategy. I've been working on my temple for some time, and on yesterday's stream I ended up with 67 divines per full temple run, from 60 crystals to 0. That full run took me about 22 to 24 minutes to complete, so in an hour I ended up farming about 106 divines, including the time that took to get crystals up again. And all of that considering that my temple is still far from perfect, so that number could be improved. At the moment, I probably would expect something between 50 and 150 divines per hour when you're running temple non-stop and your temple is already pretty developed, but obviously not complete. However, to farm decent currency, there is important to set up temple correctly. So in this video, I will be covering the basic of temple building and will be going over the most efficient layouts. I will also share some tips on how to minimize destabilization and get the maximum profit per hour from your temple. Feel free to subscribe to the channel for more farming guides, and let's go! In 0.5, temple building is completely different compared to what we had in 0.4. Instead of building long chains, we can just focus on getting a few profitable rooms and make whole temple run faster instead. This approach was pioneered by Milky BK, an absolute god of temple building, and the huge part of the current strategy is based on his discoveries. So how do we profit? At the moment, we just need to focus on building level 3 smithy, which is going to transform to Golden Forge and Immaculate Forge, so like level 3 and level 4 smithy room instead. That room is going to give us opportunity to drop a special temple currency. And the biggest part comes from Vaal catalyzing infusers, which is almost 3 divines each right now. And Vaal armor infusers, which is 2 goals for 1 divine. This is the main profit, and usually when you're going to run your temple, you're going to get a decent amount of both. So to start building your temple, you need to get way up to Aziri and place the architect in a good position. Perfectly, it should be any zone, right up or left up. Anywhere like here. You can kill architect a few times to move his position, just don't add any other rooms. So here's the way to Aziri, and here's the architect as well. After it, you can practically start building. You are starting from just adding basic smithies at the start of your path. After it, you can put them with golem workshops, starting your small chains. When you have a generator, you can place a generator right here to boost your smithies to level 3. They will start giving you some basic loot, but at that moment, before you will get smithies to level 3, you don't need to even run temple at all. After you get generator, basic golems workshops and basic smithies, those smithies are going to provide a pretty decent loot already, and you can just enter and clear them. So after it, the next step is adding more smithies at the end of the line, and perfectly protecting them with armories right here and here, and adding even garrisons on top. You can even add like commanders too, but I don't really recommend to build too many rooms into those chains, because that way your smith is already protected and you don't need to add more rooms to try to avoid destabilization. So while you're building all of that, you will need to keep adding additional rooms at top, close to the Aziri, to protect your other rooms from destabilization, so to make sure that your smithies are not going to get destabilized. For that, you can take any random rooms that you generated and just keep placing them there. So every temple run, you will need to keep adding random rooms on top. Don't create the chains out of them. Just add a basic ones to bait destabilization. So in the game, it's looking like that. I have a lot of basic rooms right here, and I have a smithies of chains right here. At top, you can start working on Surgeon Symphony chain with some Synth Flash Sanctums, because it's a pretty decent possibility. However, it's not too important, and I would not recommend to over-focus on that, especially if you don't need limbs for Surge and Symphony. Just focus on building your smithies and improving your chains for it. If you have additional path, you don't need to spend it, but instead make sure that you always have as many possible bait rooms for destabilization as you can get. So looking at the builder right now, absolutely perfectly, you just need to focus on getting that protection. As you can see in the real game, unfortunately my lower line is not protected because amount of rooms could be pretty random. However, we need to aim to get as much protection as possible, same for the generator. And if you have more generators, I usually recommend to get additional generator even to the left if your main generator is not protected. However, if it is protected, you can just delete it completely and create an additional line of smithies. It is pretty basic strategy and it's very easy to do. The only downside right here that you will have a fight against RNG when you will need to constantly fight destabilization. So as I already showcased, you can just apply random rooms absolutely everywhere, make sure they're not connected. However, the more rooms you will have in your temple, the bigger destabilization will be. So unfortunately you can't fill all the temple with rooms anymore. At some point you will start losing some particular parts of the smithy chains, doesn't matter how good it will go. So perfectly, I believe that just focusing on the similar conditions that I have right here, right chain which is complete, left chain which is complete, one additional chain should be the goal. For that, you can run temple very fast. So such temple could be completed like only in a few minutes. And in an hour, you can run tremendous amount of temples back to back, especially if you stacked your crystals before. Talking about the perfect setup, you will need to get as many chains with level 3 smithies as possible. Your first smithy is going to level up to level 3 by itself, because it's getting +1 level from generator and +1 level from golem workshop. However, when we will look at the game, as you can see, smithy which is too far from generator is not going to get additional level. For that, you will need to farm medallions for +1 level to rooms. And when your late smithy, which is like those ones, are protected enough, you can just use that medallion to level up your smithy to level 3. And when you're farming that temple, to maximize your profit, you need to only run smithy rooms and nothing else. So when you're entering the temple, you just finish on all smithy rooms which are level 3. For me, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. After I finish those 5 rooms, I can immediately exit temple and start it again. That way, you're going to maximize your profit. As a nice protective technique, I also recommend to use a second generator in case if your main generator will get like destabilized, and if you don't have a good protection for generator and you don't have enough smithies, you might also place a basic generator right here while you're preparing the rest of the chains. In the future, you will probably just replace it with smithy again. However, it can help at the start. You can also create a small chain at top with like Flash Surgeon, Sin Flash Lab and Flash Surgeons too. It can give a little better loot in general, but I don't really believe it's too important, as I already mentioned. Now, let's talk about how to get crystals as fast as possible for your temple. And for that, we're going to use a special tablets with chance to gain an additional crystal from Vaal beacons in maps. That way, you can get those tablets from 2 to 5 divines. They can jump in price a little, however, if they will become too expensive, you can just run normal temple tablets with no bonuses at all. So right here you can get chance to gain an additional crystal from Vaal beacon and map up to 8%, and you don't need anything else on those tablets. There's a pretty decent amount of them on the market, about 5,000. So for 2 divines you can just run a map with those bonuses from like crystals and complete that map as fast as possible. It's pretty cool to combine these boss rushes when you're going through your atlas, picking like Garukans, Rakiatas, Breaches, the Mist, and other farms that you can get in there. However, if for some reason those tablets will become too important and too expensive, instead you can just run a basic temple tablet. That way you can get it for 20 exalteds and you're still going to get one temple run after 2 maps. If you can complete those 2 maps like under 1 minute in terms of speed, just entering, doing the temple, doing the boss and immediately exiting, it will be good enough even without the bonus. So keep the prices in mind, and if they will jump, you can always run basic tablets instead. So I hope that video will help you out to try and build your own temple for profit in 0.5. Thank you very much for watching and see you next time. ronarray out.